Hi, I'm Brigham with Brigham Pianos, and I often come across pianos that belong to customers that are between 70 and 110 years old, something like that, and they need lots and lots of work. Often these pianos have been maintained sporadically, maybe tuned, maybe repair, sticking key, squeaky pedal here and there, but as far as a large scale overhaul or refurbishing of the piano, um, they all need it. Um, so, so what I've developed over the years, I've been working on pianos a long time, and during that time, I've developed this checklist that is very extensive. I've tried to be as exhaustive as I possibly can to go through and refurbish. This is not a rebuild. Rebuild on a lot of these old uprights would be way overkill, completely inefficient cost-wise. A rebuild might cost you double or more what a brand new, very nice piano would cost. A refurbishing, however, is a very wise choice. I've got a number of them, 6 or 7 in here that belong to customers right now. I'd like to go through and show you some of the things that I do to these pianos. Everybody, without exception, has just been very, very happy with how their old pianos have turned out. Pianos from their grandmother, great-grandmother, and even pianos that somebody just found on KSL or something like that. They really like the old look, but it doesn't play very well, or it could play at a significantly higher level. So that's what I do. The very first thing that I do, come over here. This one belongs to a customer that just came in a couple weeks ago. First thing I do is I tear it apart completely, and here's a perfect example. I take all the cabinetry off, all of the keys out. Here are these are connections to the pedals down there. So take everything completely apart, and first thing, the piano is very, very thoroughly cleaned. These pianos are always filthy. This still in process. Done some of the vacuuming so far. I didn't make any special arrangements, by the way, for this video, so you're kind of getting a raw sort of day in the life in my shop. So once the vacuuming is more thoroughly done, the piano itself goes outside. Everything is blown out until I can't get any more dust out, and that takes quite a while. But in the back too, then it comes back inside, and all of this interior wood is cleaned with a lemon oil or an orange oil. Get everything very, very clean, cleaner than it's been in probably since it was manufactured. Then from there, fix stuff like this. You can see that issue. There's an issue down here. I don't know if you can see it. This whole panel is just totally cracked and coming loose. So I put the piano on its back and fix all of that. Take it off, clamp it together with some good strong wood glue. Put some braces in there, tie it nice and tight. And that's the kind of the beginning, just the getting everything in good structural order, good working order structurally, and also getting everything very clean. Let's come over here. So this belongs to, and that was a family piano for that lady. This one, the lady, it doesn't belong to. It wasn't a family piano. She just got this one on KSL, but she fell in love with the cabinetry. Really cool looking cabinetry. It's over there. So I've redone the keys on this one. The keys on this one, when it came in, they look like this piano over here, just old and yellowed and chipped, and keys often look like that. A lot that are missing. So just these keys are completely resurfaced. Oh, and then also bushings. These are the bushings here. That's what keeps these on the front of the key, and they're on the center of the key. That's what keeps the key operating correctly, keeps it feeling nice and tight. Replacing the bushings is an essential part of a nice firm touch. Okay, bridle straps. These are bridle straps right here. Those I always replace those on these older uprights. And of course, and something I didn't mention a minute ago is the action also is also filthy. So that is cleaned very thoroughly. This is the action. Here you can see this action here. This one hasn't been cleaned yet. You can kind of see what it looks like. And on this one, I didn't like the dampers on this one, so took all the dampers off, and going to be working on getting these off as well. The base dampers, they weren't. You can see they're just kind of crusty. Then. So the action is very thoroughly cleaned. Hammers are reshaped. Here, come over here. This one belongs to a customer who's this is a family piano, and their kids are starting. So they want to keep the piano, but they want it to be in great shape. Obviously, like I mentioned, a full restoration, totally impractical. But what I'm doing here, so you can come have a look here. You can see these hammers, how they're returned to the proper shape. You can kind of get a side view here. These hammers, they get worn and they end up flat. Back to this action, if you look at this one, this is what all action, or what all hammers look like. And this one actually isn't so bad, but it definitely needs to be done. They need to be reshaped. Then, and this one, let me show you these. These are the original pedals, but I don't do this myself, but I send them up to a guy up in Salt Lake who does replating of, he does like automotive parts, but he also takes anything else, including piano pedals. So you can see how beautiful job that is. I can do those in nickel like this is, or brass. I have on this Fisher redoing the pedals in brass, and those turn out very, very well. Okay, let's go back to, let's look at this action again. So all of these parts, there are many hundreds of parts, and they all get loose, both in all of the screws where they attach, but also like the hammer heads, they tend to get loose where that glue joint is. The glue joint is right under there. This part here called catcher, this gets loose either where it enters into the hammer butt right there, or where this little shank there enters into the actual catcher there. That gets loose. So I get all of those parts tight, just how you want them again. Everything is very thoroughly lubricated as well. Lots of moving parts in there, particularly in the, well, there's a perfect example. That's the pedal, and that's very common. So every time I engage the pedal like that, all of these parts move simultaneously. Everything needs to be lubricated under there, behind there, in what are called the hangers, and then also lubrication in the pedal work. That is a common source of squeaks. What else? Of course, I tune it up to pitch. This one, I replace strings on this one. I didn't do all of them. I just replaced. There were a number of them that are missing, so I replaced those. I ensure that the pin block. This one here is a good example of that. The pins in this, they weren't super loose, but they were I think if I were to just tune it, it would have been fine, but it was they were just loose enough that I wasn't totally comfortable. So I put the piano on its back and treated that pin block, and now these pins are really nice and tight and they'll last. I've been doing that treatment for about 10, 12 years, something like that now, and the pianos that I've seen from way back 10 years ago or so that I've done, it still holds nice and tight. I have no reason to believe that it won't hold for another, I don't know, 10, 20, 30 years, who knows, probably even longer. I've had really good luck with treating that pin block, ensuring that those are nice and tight. Oh, and then this one buffed the cabinetry or the some of like this. This was black, and that buffs up beautifully. Same with these pedals. These were not. I didn't have to replate these, but these are original pedals, and I just buffed them. So another thing that I lubricate is these key pins, and then on some these punchings here are still in very good condition, but often I'll replace all of these felt punchings. Okay, and then when I have that all done, I get it all back together. I regulate the whole thing. So regulation has to do with the touch. I've talked about this in other videos, ensuring that the touch is just as it's supposed to. The distance that you can depress the key is a very specified distance. I ensure that that's correct. All the way to the hammer. If you've ever noticed on a piano, the hammer pulls away from the string at the last possible moment. That's called let off. That distance is a very specified distance. The distance from the hammer to the string when the hammer's at rest, that's a very specific distance. All of these things, the repetition, the damper lift, all of these things is a very there's a fairly narrow window at which it functions properly. So I ensure that all of these pianos are functioning very well, that they're regulated, hopefully better than they've ever been regulated since they were manufactured. I'm sure I'm missing other things, but it's a you know, just going off the top of my head for this video, but it's a very extensive process. I've done several hundred of these, and my customers, without exception, are very pleased with how their heirloom or new piano to them turns out. So I'm confident in my ability to refurbish these pianos and transform them into not just a cool old piece of furniture, World War I era, cool, you know, ornate piece of furniture, but also an excellent instrument as well.